Start the recording. Hi, this is Felicia Searcy. It is my absolute joy. Let me make sure the camera's on. There we go. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is a delight to be sharing this information with you and to be spending this time with you. So congratulations for saying yes to you and yes to taking an hour of your valuable time and investing in you, investing in what's possible for you. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Felicia Searcy. I'm an award-winning transformational life coach and the creator of 7 master secrets for creating the wealth and success that you desire. So I'm going to open the PowerPoint. There. So we have that. So now, this is called Massive Imperfect Action, as I am on my own growing edge with the new technology to be able to better serve you. So in the next hour, you are going to learn truly how wealth is natural. Wealth is your natural birthright, that you are created to experience a unlimited amount of abundance, that it is natural for you to experience true meaning in your vocation and to have deep, meaningful work where you are making the contribution that you are meant to make. So in this webinar today, you will learn that wealth and success are natural, that you are wired for wealth and success, that anything else may feel normal, but it is actually unnatural. You will learn that there is a specific formula that all successful people apply. Now, they may not know they're applying it, but when you see success, and I'm not talking about people that are necessarily born or had inherited wealth, but when you see people who themselves have generated success, they followed a specific formula. And you will also learn today, I'm going to take a deep dive into 3 basic secrets that all successful people use to create their wealth. Along the way, I'm going to share with you moments of inspiration, give you examples of people just like you who at one time thought that this was impossible for them, but as they made a decision for what was important for them and they learned and applied a very specific formula in a way that they never learned and applied it before, their life began to change, and most importantly, it demonstrated in the body of their results. They changed and their life changed. I'm going to give you everything that I can in this very short amount of time together. We are going to go through those 3 secrets. I hope it's enough to whet your appetite for you to really make a decision to study this formula and to unlock the most powerful, potent energy on the universe, which is your capacity to create at will. Then, for those of you who want to take a deeper dive into this, I will share with you how you will be able to study with me, study this formula, and hook to my expertise. When this is all said and done, I will share with you how, for those of you who want to go deeper, I will give you an opportunity how you can go deeper into this formula and study with me. And then I'm going to encourage you to stick around to the end because I actually have a bonus secret for you. So, first of all, it's to understand that wealth is natural. Wealth is natural. You know, when you think about it, when you think about the nature of the universe, you think about our world, that life was created to expand. You know, when you think about this human body alone and just the beauty and the sophistication of this beauty of this human body, we are meant to flourish. You know, my husband went out today and he planted his garden, and he joined a community garden, and he laid the dirt and he's laying the foundation and he's putting the rails around the garden to contain the dirt in order to really give the roots of the plants rich nourishment. He'll go out and he'll water and he'll weed and he'll take care of those plants. And his expectation is that come a couple of months from now, we will have tomatoes and squash or anything else he decides to plant in that garden. He's expecting those to flourish because he understands that the natural state of life is one of abundance. The natural state of life is one of wealth. And so your wealth is natural. Now, it may not be normal. I don't know what your circumstances are saying to you right now. I don't know what the conditions are talking to you about. Regardless of what your current experiences are, regardless of what's happened up to this point, regardless of what your past was like, wealth for you is natural. Now, some of you have myths around this. There are myths around wealth. There are arguments as to why wealth is not natural. Many people don't realize, number one, that wealth is natural, and number two, that there is a very specific formula that, when understood and applied consistently, will cause you to unlock your natural state of wealth. Here's what most people think about wealth. First of all, that only lucky people are successful and wealthy, that you got to be in the right place at the right time. The second one, you have to be born into it. That, you have to have the right education, you have to know the right people, that you have to have advantages in order to be able to really experience wealth. Another one is, if you're rich and you weren't born into it, even if you were, your family probably got it by dishonest means. But notice if there's any ickiness around money and wealth. And is it really okay for you to experience a degree of financial freedom? Just notice what your opinion is, what your perception is. And most people, I don't know if most, but a lot of people, I know I was one of these people that just had a fundamental judgment around people with money. I know that was my case. That, first of all, somehow, somewhere inside of me, I felt like having wealth was fundamentally wrong. Or if I did have wealth, the only way I could achieve wealth and real success, number one, was if I worked really, really, really hard, and that there was no way that I could do it doing what I love and really make a contribution. That, in my mind, wealth and contribution were like disconnected from each other. It was kind of crazy, but just check in to see if maybe you've got this belief that it's like, okay, if I work really hard and I work at something that says that I can get wealthy in, if I work at those traditional jobs or careers that people get wealthy in, then maybe I can get wealthy. But to get wealthy doing something that I love and that really makes a difference, where I can experience wealth, success, and contribution, that just doesn't happen. That was my story. That, number one, it was not okay to be wealthy. And then when I did experience a degree of wealth between my husband and I, it was his doing. That I didn't do it, he did it. And that it really wasn't okay for me. And that no matter how hard I worked, it's like I couldn't break past a certain barrier. That I was, I've been a student of this kind of thinking for several decades, for a couple of decades at the minimum. And my life really had gotten better. But then, I hit this point in the area of my success where I came directly, just bumped right up against this, what I call paradigm or fundamental belief, that real success was just not okay, particularly doing something that I absolutely loved and that really had meaning in the world. So as a result, I'd get up to a certain point, I'd pour my heart and soul into this work, and it'd get up to a certain point, but it's like it couldn't go beyond that certain point. And it's like I hit a ceiling, that I hit my habit of good. Every single one of you has a habit for good. Every single one of you has a consent mark that at this point, no longer is it okay for you to experience any more good. And I hit that mark. I hit that mark in terms of what was happening with my own personal income. I hit that mark with the number of people I was impacting. And I hit that mark with the amount of hard work I had to do to make this happen. I can remember feeling frustrated. I can remember feeling super inadequate. And really, quite frankly, like a failure. Why wouldn't it work for me? Because I had studied this stuff for years, yet there was something missing in the translation. There was some disconnect between knowing about it and being able to conceptually tell you, and then really demonstrating it in my results. So frustrated, inadequate, and ready to quit, I said, I got to do something different. That's when I made a decision to study with the teachers on the planet, the mentors who were teaching this wealth, success, contribution formula. And most importantly, they were demonstrating it in their own lives. And so as I chose this structure, made an investment in myself with my time, my energy, my finances, and my attention, the most precious commodity that we have. And I threw myself into this structure with a rigor that I had never experienced before and a degree of study that I had never experienced before. My results began to change. They changed quickly and they changed radically. So I'm going to share these with you just so you can see the power of the formula. Now, I used to get a little embarrassed about sharing these results as if it was something that me personally, Felicia, was doing. All I was doing was following the same model that my teachers laid out and following the formula that master succeeders have known throughout the ages, that people have researched, documented, codified, and given to us. And so as I poured myself into my work and I changed the incarnation of it, got very clear around what my desire was, understood the power of images and began to rehearse images of success and began to put on a new self-image and quite frankly gave myself permission to be wealthy, gave myself permission to be rich. Let it be okay, not only okay, but really wire in, install in my subconscious mind at a level that I'd never experienced before, that life wants us to be wealthy. Life wants us to be rich. And as a result, as I poured myself into this work, my first 3 years of this new incarnation of this work of my business, I increased my income. So let's look at income because it's very tangible. It's measurable. And during this webinar, we're talking about specifically money. And so when I look at my income grew 800% within the first 3 years of building this business. And now it continues to grow and expand even more. Now, here's what I love about that figure. I love the financial freedom. I love being able to go and do and have the things that my husband and I want to go do and have. I'm coming to you, I'm broadcasting this from my office in Thousand Oaks, California, our dream place that we dreamed up. And we made a conscious decision to move to this area as we dreamed this up, as this fits a life that we love. The ability to contribute in ways that absolutely bring me joy. And knowing that as I made a decision for my success in deeply meaningful work, that my wealth represents lives transformed. And that's the way it is with you. That whatever brought you to this webinar this evening, the knock at the door of your heart, inviting you to really claim your gift, claim what is uniquely yours to give the world, and give consent to the universe to allow a degree of wealth and possibility that you may not have even imagined before. This is the way we transform the planet. So as a result, I'm not only working with the most powerful teachers on the planet, this is my mentor, Mary Morrissey, but now I'm able to serve her and I'm able to take that message and serve the people that I get to work with. The other people I've been honored to work with, Bob Proctor has also been a dear teacher of mine. And Cynthia Kersey is the woman on the red. The woman on the left, my left, might be your right, in the red, where she has a foundation called the Unstoppable Foundation, where she is building entire support systems in Africa in order for kids to go to school, to be able to educate the children in the Southern Africa area. And that because of my ability to help people translate spiritual law into physical results, my wealth has increased and allowed me to serve people halfway across the planet. That's what's available for all of us. And this is what I bring to you. So the work that you're hearing this evening is based on the most powerful teachers on the planet. It's based on my study with people like Mary Morrissey and Bob Proctor personally. It's also based on the works of writers back at the turn of the last century, like Napoleon Hill and Wallace Wattles. What's interesting about Napoleon Hill, Bob Proctor, one of my teachers, studied Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. I was looking for a copy. I've been studying it all afternoon. I must have left it downstairs. But every day for 53 years, that man picks up that book and reads a portion of it. It humbles me. And whenever I think that I've got it, I remember that. And I ask myself, am I successful as Bob Proctor? Am I reaching the number of people that I want to reach? And am I helping transform the number of lives that I know is possible? And when I hear myself saying, I know that, I remember my teacher, Bob Proctor. Every day he picks up that book and studies a portion of it. Now, do you think he could not recite it verbatim? But it just keeps giving more and more to him. So Napoleon Hill, what's so powerful about Napoleon Hill and is the basis for a lot of this work along, like I said, with Wallace Wattles. Napoleon Hill in particular was commissioned by Andrew Carnegie to study the success habits of the 500 most successful people in our country and possibly in the world at the turn of the last century. Napoleon Hill accepted that commission, and he went out and he interviewed and he asked these people, what do you think was the secret of your success? And he took all of those conversations and he pulled out the patterns that he saw, commonalities among every single one of those folks. And he codified them and put them into a very specific formula that every single one of us can learn, apply, and demonstrate. Learn, apply, and demonstrate. And so this evening, as I share what I've learned over the last couple of decades and the last several years in particular, as I've applied it in my life in a way that I never applied it before, I'm going to share with you 3 secrets, actually 4, because I'm bringing you a bonus one. 3 of those secrets that Napoleon Hill, Wallace Wattles, and my teachers have learned, shared, and demonstrated with all of us. So first of all, the key one that Andrew Carnegie says that any idea that is held in the mind, that is either emphasized, that is feared or revered, will begin at once to clothe itself in the most convenient and appropriate form available. Any idea. See, what they discovered was that our thoughts truly are things, that we have unlimited capacity in our thinking, that everything is created twice. First in mind, then in physical manifestation. And Andrew Carnegie had an understanding that any idea that we hold in mind, that we either fear or revere, will begin at once to clothe itself in the most convenient and appropriate form available. They understood that our world is governed by invisible laws. I mean, think about it. Think about the ingenuity. I mean, right now I'm staring into a tiny little green light that I'm trusting is broadcasting this to you, those of you watching it now, or possibly those of you who will watch the recording. And I'm not hooked to anything. I'm not hooked to the computer. My computer's hooked in, but I could do this without my computer being hooked in. You know, we trust that there is an invisible force that we can't really explain that's doing its work and allowing this. You know, magnets. There's an invisible energy field between these magnets that you see the evidence, you trust that it's there, but you can't see it. We trust this sort of thing. But when it comes to an invisible pattern, an invisible power, Napoleon Hill calls it infinite intelligence. Wallace Wattles calls it invisible stuff. Genevieve Barron, the author of Your Invisible Power, just calls it God or source or spirit. You know, the plane and the energies of life itself. Regardless of what you call it, you cannot argue that there is not something at work here, and that master succeeders have known throughout the ages that whatever you put your focus on, what you place your attention on, you grow, you give energy to, you act on, and literally you tap into this invisible field, and it must mold around the pattern. It must organize itself around the pattern that you give it with your predominant thought and the emotional charge you give it. So Andrew Carnegie says any idea that is held in the mind, that is emphasized, that is either feared or revered, will begin at once to clothe itself in the most convenient and appropriate form available. Here's what Wallace Waddle says. There is a thinking stuff from which all things are made, and which in its original state permeates, penetrates, and fills the inner spaces of the universe. A thought in this substance produces the thing that is imagined by the thought. We can form things in our thoughts, and by impressing our thought upon formless substance, can cause the thing we think about to be created. Now the question is, are we doing this automatically with the stuff that we've been thinking all the time up until now that got us our current results? Or are we going to change that pattern and think new thoughts that will then create new results? So with that said, then it would stand to reason that you want to be very clear around what is it that you are impressing upon this invisible substance. Let me just wave your hand. It's all around us. This invisible substance that longs to deliver a rich, abundant life that is worthy of you. This remarkable creation of life that was meant to thrive. So the first secret of the masters, the first secret that the masters understand is that all success and wealth start with desire. You got to want it. You got to want it. So right now, check in with yourself. Is it okay for you to desire? Is it okay for you to desire money? Is it okay for you to desire success? You know, so many of you, in fact, I would venture to say every one of you watching this has a wonderful heart, and yet you are deeply spiritually rooted. And that somehow there might be a bit of a disconnect between having a desire for success and an awareness, a spiritual awareness. What I want you to hear right now is that the two are one and the same. That your desire for more wealth is actually the desire of something bigger than you seeking to expand and express by means of you. You are the way spirit expresses wealth in our world. So give yourself permission to want it. Let yourself feel desire. Now, I'm going to show you a model of how this desire then manifests into fact as you give yourself permission to do this. And I'm going to share the story of, who am I sharing the story about? Francine. I'm so delighted. I've had the honor and the privilege to work with hundreds of clients that have made amazing successes. And so I thought about, so who is it that I want to share this evening? And so the first moment of inspiration I want to share is Francine, as I tell you, as I show you this model. There, Francine's story. So this little guy is called the stick figure, the stick person. It was a model developed by a chiropractor by the name of Dr. Thurman Fleet back in 1934 in San Antonio, Texas. He wanted to explain the connection between our thinking and our results. And he was looking at the physical results. I'm going to encourage you to look at the results of your finances and the results of your work. So on top, so first of all, everything, every dream, every desire starts as a fantasy. That this is where your desire begins. You can hear my desire, my love in the background with my dog barking because she has a desire right now, and she's letting me know her desire. So we start out. Your desire starts out as a fantasy. Now, Francine was experiencing success. You know, she had a good job. And she had experienced a high degree of financial success, but it came with a cost. It came at the cost of her health, her relationships, and her sense of well-being. Because the way she achieved her success was through really hard work. So ask yourself, are you achieving success easily? Or the success that you have achieved, has it been fun? Has it been easy? Has it been for the good of all, or has it been really hard work? In Francine's case, she was working 55, 60, sometimes 70 hours a week, and she was miserable. She had a fantasy of doing more fulfilling work with less hours. In fact, her fantasy was that she wanted to work 20 hours a week, generating $250,000. Now, it took her a long time just to get to that fantasy, because even right now, as you're thinking about what is it that you would love, even as you think that right now, there is a part of you that's going to want to argue with this. There's going to be a part of you. In fact, I was talking to somebody today where the old thought process, that old habit, which I call the paradigm, will cause you to water down your fantasy. But right now, let yourself imagine what it is that you would love. Remember, successful people understand that they have to want it. What do you want? What do you want with your income? What's the kind of work that you want to do? And what's the contribution you want to make? So there's two questions you have to ask yourself as you move from fantasy to theory. Because as you learn how to relate to your fantasies, you learn how to really let yourself feel your desire. Your fantasy then turns into a theory. Now, when it becomes a theory, it becomes real. It's that point that says, wow, I could possibly really do this. So there's two questions you have to ask yourself. First one, am I able? Am I able to do this? Well, Francine thought was, I don't know if I'm able. I don't know if I can really do this, because she didn't have any evidence that she could generate $250,000 working 20 hours a week. There just wasn't any evidence in her world. But what she came to understand was that she could not have the fantasy without the means to bring it about. I want you to hear right now, whatever your desire is, and I'm going to encourage you right now, write it down. What is your desire? What is your fantasy, say, for an annual income? What is your fantasy around work that you would love that makes real contribution? You could not have that fantasy without the means to bring it into manifestation, because that fantasy is not yours. That fantasy is life itself seeking to expand and express by means of you. You are the way that makes this infinite presence known. You bear witness to it by saying yes to your fantasy. So the real question is, am I willing? Am I willing to do what it's going to take? Now, for Francine, it meant potentially risking her current standard of living. My life is talking down in the kitchen. My dream, my desire is talking down in the kitchen as he's feeding our animals. So excuse me for a second while I shut the door so I can bring full attention to you and there won't be background noise. But just enjoy my life in the background for a moment, as this is my dream life as I dreamed it up. And it's possible for all of us. Okay, so now it's just us as my husband's down there taking care of things. So the question that Francine really had to ask was, am I willing? Am I willing to do what it's going to take to bring my fantasy into manifestation? Because the thing about it is, that fantasy is the means by which life itself grows you. It requires you to reach down and access skills and abilities, and it requires you to step into an awareness of faith of this invisible substance that's supporting and is all around you. And for Francine, it meant redefining her work. But as she made a decision about it, and we're going to talk about that here in a second, what it is to make a real decision. As she made a decision for it, and she began to physically, mentally rehearse it, and that's a cue. We're not going to get into that as much this evening, just because of the short amount of time. But that is a necessary element of bringing your success into physical form, is learning how to mentally rehearse your image as if it is already complete. As she did that, she then created a goal, and she began to take corresponding action steps from the place of believing, from the place of completion. She began to build her believing as it literally pressed into her subconscious mind. Things began to happen for her that she never in a million years could have orchestrated herself. She was taking an action, and as she was taking that action from the place of believing that this was possible, out of the blue, she gets an email from a past employer who wanted her to come back to work as a contractor. And as she took actions, that life became fact. That she then lived a life where she was working around 20 hours a week and generating $250,000 annually. And then she went on to bigger and better fantasies. As she made a decision for her dream, put herself in a solid structure support, and learned with a level of discipline and rigor, and applied with a level of discipline and rigor in a way that she never had before, this formula, that's the result that she created. As she fed her desire, that's the creative process. So step one, first secret was desire. Second secret, once you get a clear image of what it is that you would love, then you must make a decision for it. Now, here's the thing about decisions. Very few people know how to make a decision. Bob Proctor, one of my teachers, says that a decision is the single most powerful mental moves that you can make. That when you make a decision, you are effectively saying, I'm doing this no matter what. A true decision is based on desire, not based on current facts and conditions. Remember, if we are continually impressing our thoughts, our thought pattern into this invisible substance, and it is continually organizing itself around that thought pattern, our results are a perfect reflection of our highest level of consent and awareness of what's possible for us, our highest level of belief up until that moment. And so when you're thinking more expansively, when you have a big, bold dream about wealth and success, you will not find confirmation in your results, in your current conditions. In fact, those current conditions are going to do everything in their power to talk you out of it. In fact, it will feel like that there is a part of you that literally feels like your life is fighting for you not to take that risk. That's where transformation happens. That as you make a decision, trusting this invisible power and something that you know deep down is real and true, but you may not be able to see the evidence of it around you, that's where true power and transformation can happen. So let me share with you Nia's story of how she, in the face of facts and conditions, made a decision that has led to remarkable conditions and results and circumstances in her life. So I did a much longer version of this workshop in an organization in Minneapolis. Nia came to, excuse me for a second, she came to an introduction talk that morning, heard the invitation to come to a longer seminar in the afternoon, wanted to come, and stopped me in the foyer of the building that we were in and gave me every single reason why she could not come. There was no way she could come. But in that moment, in a structure of support, she allowed herself to listen to her desire, asking the question, what would I love? Would I love to be there? Realizing in that moment, the answer is love itself knocking at the door of your heart. So in that container, right in that moment that we were able to create together with me as her mastermind partner, her partner in believing, helping her see other possibilities and just holding the space for Nia, what would you love? In the face of not knowing how it was going to happen, she put a stake in the ground and said, you know what? I'm doing this. I'm coming. I'm going to attend this afternoon. And as she did that, as she came that afternoon and got, and it was amazing how things rearranged and all of a sudden other people weren't available. That's the power of decision. You're effectively broadcasting your intention to the universe, and to the degree of your ability to hold that with the power of your will, not willpower. This is willpower. You know, I can force these together, But when you're resisting your good, it's like trying to hold two magnets that are polar opposites together, or I think they're the same, or whatever, holding these together. And if I get tired or take my attention off, they disconnected. But when you line up with what you love and you make a decision and you line up with the infinite power, you can't stop your good from coming to you like a magnet. Phew, it just comes right to you. And so Nia got very clear about what it was that she loved. She again made the decision for what she would love and put herself in a structured support and learn how to learn this formula and how to apply it in a way that she never had before. And I watched as this incredible woman systematically has continued to make decisions over and over and over in the face of not knowing how. And as she has done that, how the world, this infinite intelligence, this infinite power has rushed in and orchestrated things and to work in her favor. One small example was that when she first got started learning this particular version of the formula, she was trying to put a business together and she had maybe 1 or 2 clients, not anything really full time. Within 5 to 6 months, I don't even think it was that long, she had 24 full-time clients, and she's now on doing bigger and better things, and amazing things are happening for her as she's building a new business. And she also received the biggest bonus in her current business that she ever has. So now she's becoming a magnet for good all over the place because of her decisions. And she has put a stake in the ground and said that she will be complete with her current work, which is as a corporate trainer and an international corporation. And she puts her stake in the ground, and she has said she's doing this. It's amazing how things are unfolding and popping for her in order to help her keep moving forward to the result of that decision. But she's acting from that place of decision, and things are happening now. So I have a question for you. As you have your image of what you desire, you have your image of wealth, and you're beginning to allow yourself to really entertain pictures of wealth, success, and real contribution. What's the decision that you know you need to make? What's the decision that is staring you right there in the face, but you have allowed circumstances and conditions to talk you out of it? Right now, in this moment, tap into something so much bigger than you. Tap into this power that's all around us that you can't see, that's conspiring for your wealth, conspiring for your success. Feel it. Go down to the very marrow of your being. Feel that power talking to you. Feel that power igniting you with the fire of your desire. And in this moment, feel the believing. And if you can't believe it, believe in my belief that absolutely, if you dream this up, you can do this. And then here, what's the decision? What's the decision that you need to make in order to really move your primary initiative forward, move this dream forward? Okay, and then finally, a third secret that all successful people know is that we can't do this alone. We are not meant to do this alone. That all successful people allow themselves support. There's the thing that will hang people up quicker than anything is the Lone Ranger syndrome, believing that I can do this on my own. When Napoleon Hill studied the success habits of the 500 most successful people on the planet, in the U.S. at the time, he found that every single one of them provided support for themselves in 2 ways. Number one, they surrounded themselves with people who were at a level of success equal to them and beyond, and that was equally committed to generating a even greater and greater level of success. Watch the 5 people you hang out with the most. Studies have shown that the 5 people you hang out with the most, that you all have the same average income. Now, it doesn't mean that you abandon your friends, but it does mean that you surround yourself with people who are vibrating at a different level of wealth, success, and contribution. That's one of the reasons why I hang out with the teachers that I hang out with as closely as I do, because they move in the world differently, and there's a different vibrational pattern around them. And as I move in their company and I'm influenced by them, I'm able to take that on for myself, and this is what I'm able to offer other people. So Napoleon Hill discovered that they have mastermind partners that are either at the same level and beyond, and that everybody is equally committed, that they have made the decision, they have put their stake in the ground, that no matter what, they are moving to this level of success. They have also surrounded themselves with people who have areas of specialized knowledge that they don't have. That they have mentors and teachers, and they've got people who are doing the area of bringing an area of expertise that they don't have. When you look at Napoleon Hill had Andrew Carnegie. And Andrew Carnegie issued Napoleon Hill a challenge. He said, Napoleon, I want you to stand in front of the mirror every night, and I want you to repeat these words. And you stand in front of the mirror and you say this. You say, Andrew Carnegie, not only am I going to match your achievements in life, but I'm going to meet you at the post and pass you at the grandstand. Now, those are horse racing terms. The horse race starts at the post, and then the grandstand is the finish line where all the dignitaries are. And so Andrew Carnegie helped Napoleon Hill build his believing in himself. As a man who achieved his own level of success and knew there was a formula and was working with other people to teach them this formula and was commissioning Napoleon Hill to discover this formula, he saw this in Andrew Carnegie saw this in Napoleon Hill as well. And so this is what he said. You stand in front of the mirror every day, several times a day. Here's that key piece of building your believing. You make a decision, and then you build your believing by supporting your decision and getting people around you who believe in you and who can show you how to do it. And so Napoleon Hill stood in front of the mirror, and he said at first he felt like a fraud, that he would whisper it into the mirror. He was living with his brother at the time, and he didn't want his brother to hear him. But after a short 30 days, he began to believe it. And it was said that Andrew Carnegie made maybe 100 millionaires. Napoleon Hill has made millions of millionaires. And then when you look at the impact, say like people like Bob Proctor, who studied Napoleon Hill's material, I mean, the reverberation, the wave of wealth, success, and contribution goes out even further than that. The thing I so appreciate about Napoleon Hill and Wallace Wattles' work is that it's not becoming rich for the sake of becoming rich. That they both talk about how wealth, true wealth, is a direct reflection of the kind of impact that you're making. That when you become an expert at your area of interest, because you have a burning desire to share your gift, and you become an expert and you share it, that your income must grow, because it's a reflection of the kind of impact that you're making in the world. It's demonstrating that you're out there doing it. And so as Napoleon Hill grew in his understanding and worked with Andrew Carnegie around this, with Andrew Carnegie being his support and sawing that all successful people had support around them, that they could not do it alone, that they knew that they could not live the Lone Ranger syndrome. Okay, so those are 3 examples of master secrets that the masters have known throughout the ages. So again, what's your desire? First of all, grounding this fundamentally that you have 100% capability to create anything that you desire, and that your desire for wealth is natural, that thriving and a wealthy life is natural, and anything that's not that is unnatural. Now, it may be normal, but it's not natural. And how do you know it's not natural? Because it's a struggle. If we're struggling, we are not living our natural state. If you are struggling, you are not living your natural state. So right now, just let those words land. So now get in touch with your desire. Understand the nature of your desire. Understand that your desire is spirit itself seeking a richer, fuller, greater expression by means of you. And your fantasy is the way that spirit will bless the world through you and will grow you. Once you get a clear picture of that, you make a decision. You put your stake in the ground. There is no backing up. That no matter what, this is why you want your desires so fueled, because you're going to hit resistance. You're going to hit opposition. There's going to be that in you that is going to pull out all of the stakes to talk you out of it. This is why you want support around you as you are learning and applying this formula. Whatever that support looks like, know as a successful person, you deserve support. You deserve to have someone and someone's around you, not only believing in you, but growing you, challenging you, showing you, guiding you, supporting you. So, who would you love to have support with? Who do you know that you can reach out and ask for help? Now, with that note, let me share with you how I can support you. So, before I do that, let me share about Greg Sims. So, Greg was a music composer in Nashville, loved to compose. He loves to compose music for films. Tried for years to get some traction underneath him. Just couldn't get anywhere. Signed up for support, a version of what it is that I'm getting ready to share with you. And as a result, began to entertain, made a decision that he was doing this and began to entertain new ideas. And he was able to hear an idea that he knew that it was time for him and his wife to move to Hollywood. And as a result of doing that, as a result of permanently relocating to Hollywood Hills in May of 2014, he was able to be in touch with directors and be in the energy of music composition. And he was invited by Neale Donald Walsch to do the music for Neale Donald Walsch's latest documentary in a space of like 6 months to a year. This is the power of the formula and the power of support. Okay, so let's talk about support for you. So I have a wonderful opportunity for you. It's a brand new program, same formula that I've been teaching, but now I'm putting it together in cutting edge technology and cutting edge information. See, I don't stop my study. I am so deeply committed to you, your transformation, and helping you unlock the most potent power in the entire universe, which is your capacity to create at will. I am so deeply committed to helping you unlock your natural state of wealth and to help you live your wealth, success, and contribution that I stay in mighty, 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 highly calibrated structures and systems of support myself. That this year alone, I am spending upwards of 10 weeks with my teachers, deepening my understanding. When I say 10 weeks, in very structured, highly calibrated, small group mastermind containers, along with ongoing support, and have invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in my own ability to create, which is demonstrated in my results, and my capacity to effectively serve you. So I keep growing and expanding my own awareness, my own knowledge, and my own demonstration. And so I'm bringing everything that I have learned up until this point, and I'm pouring it into this program, 7 Master Secrets for Creating Your Wealth and Success. So here's what it looks like. It's a series of 8 webinars where each week you will learn a master secret for your own wealth and success. We will take a much deeper dive. Tonight, we're just barely scratching the surface. So over an 8-week period, you will take a deep dive into these secrets. You will take a deep dive in what it is to cultivate desire. You know, what is it to really build your believing and deserving? What happens when you get stuck and you get frustrated and you want to quit, and how to keep moving forward? We'll go deeper in how is it to make a real decision, how to create an organized plan so you can keep moving forward, and how to live from creativity rather than scrapping from a lower state of competition. And finally, how to truly be a person of increase. These are just an example of some of the things that you will learn over the next 8 weeks as you learn how you can unlock your wealth, success, and your own contribution. The webinars are recorded, so you're able to listen to them over and over and over again. One of the things that Bob Proctor says is that to change your current way of believing, to change your current thought habit requires repetition, study and repetition. And so as you're listening to, he plainly is an example of that as he studies Napoleon Hill for 53 years, Think and Grow Rich, and he stayed very close to his teachers, Earl Nightingale and other teachers that, he worked with and stayed very close to unlocking this power. And so these webinars will be recorded and you'll be able to listen to them over and over and over again. And in addition, you will have a PDF to help you take what you're learning and apply it. So you'll be able to watch it, you'll be able to hear it, and you'll have it in writing. So all learning modalities will be covered. And that as you're watching, then you will be given very specific exercises to be able to then take and apply what you're learning to really begin to deepen your understanding of how to create your own success, wealth, and contribution. Now, I know 8 weeks, there's a lot that can happen in 8 weeks. And 8 weeks is long enough for you to begin to learn the formula, to apply the formula, and to begin to notice some things for yourself. Are you going to be experiencing the degree that you would love 8 weeks from now? It's possible, probably not. What this will do will deepen your understanding and cause you to really begin to believe that this is possible for you, that wealth is not an element of birth, it's not an element of deserving, it's not magic, it's not luck, and it's not purely from hard work. That is, you give yourself the gift of this kind of structure of support for over the next 8 weeks. And actually, I'll tell you about that here in a second, that you will deepen your understanding and you will spark something inside of you that will begin to say, wow, this is really possible. Okay, so this program is for you. Number one, if you're ready for a meaningful and financially rewarding vocation, if you want meaningful work that really makes a difference and you're prospering financially. If you're ready to do what it takes to really change your conditions, that no longer you're willing to sit on the sidelines, but that you understand that it requires a level of rigor and discipline that very few people are willing to do, that this is what stumps most people, that they start bumping up against resistance and they collapse back, but not you. You're ready to make a decision for you, your wealth, your success, and your contribution, and you want to learn this portion of the formula to help you with that. You can't do it alone. No longer can you do the Lone Ranger syndrome. And finally, you know that you and your desire for more wealth, success, and contribution are worth it. You deserve this. All right, so let's talk about your financial investment. You're going to love this. This is a crazy financial investment. And this is what happens. You will not see it at this level in this format again. That is, I'm rolling out a new program, pouring my highest level, my years of study and cutting edge information as I have learned it and I continue to learn. You will not see this offered at this level again. Because if you go out and you look online, webinars, 8 of them with this degree of expertise, easily the value is $1,000. As you say yes today, and this is for a limited amount of time, and it's a limited number of people, because I don't have the bandwidth to serve everybody with this, but for you that are watching and you're ready to make a decision for yourself, here's your investment. $595, $495 when pay in full. $595, $495 when pay in full. Now, Napoleon Hill talks about how all successful people know they make decisions quickly and change their mind slowly because they hear what they want and they make a decision based on what it is that they want. So in order to help you make a decision quickly, here are some bonuses that I have to offer you. Number one, these webinars are live. the first one, when I say the first one each week. Now you'll get the recordings, but each week you will have an opportunity to come to a live webinar. I'll teach, and then I'm going to open it up for Q&A. And so as you're applying this and you're bumping up against those things that are, that you're fighting and you're resisting, you can come in and get your questions answered. The value of that is easily, that alone, the value is easily $1,000. You will receive a ticket to my live event in October. Full day deep dive into the formula of success. Value, $500. And for the first 20 of you who say yes, you will receive an additional Q&A call. All right, so I'm going to take it off a screen share, and I'm going to put in there's the website to be able to go and enroll in this. Okay, so don't let my little bit of stumbling here stop you from saying yes to yourself, because there are those of you who know that this has your name written all over it. So as you say yes today and you go to that website that I've got in the chat box, you come to the live webinars and you're able to ask questions and get support. You get a ticket to my live event, and the first 20 of you will get an additional Q&A question call. That's all it is. Will be a group Q&A, and I will stay on the line till everybody's question gets answered. Also, you're going to have 2 bonus recorded webinars, because this is actually going to be a 10-week process. So I'm going to bonus you even more with 2 additional recorded webinars. So this starts next Monday and will run through August. So the entire summer of having a structure support around you, helping you move into your greater degree of wealth, success, and contribution. So make your decision now. It will be my honor to serve you, your wealth, your success, and contribution going forward. So let's, so there are the bonuses again. There's the link. There's the link in the chat box. And then to make this super simple, it's a guaranteed refund. That if you engage for 30 days and at the end of 30 days you tell me, you know what, Felicia, it's just not working for me, I will refund your money, because I want to help you make a decision for yourself and make this a no-brainer. So sign up today. Let your love, oh my God, I would love this. I would love that kind of support. And if you don't do it with me, do it with somebody. Because again, all successful people understand the necessity of support. Okay, and then finally, here's the bonus activity, the bonus secret. Because one of the things that many people will tell me is that I don't even know where to get started. How do I even get started? And you can feel stuck because your dream can feel so overwhelming. So here's a question that one of my teachers have taught me that has been extremely beneficial. It has been a powerful question. The caliber of your questions determines the caliber of your answers. And so here's the question, and I hope you brought something with you to write this down. The question is, what can I do where I am with what I have? Because there's always something you can do. Always, always, always something you can do. What can I do where I am with what I have? All right, everybody. So there's a link. And by the way, if you pay in full, it's $495. So $595 over 2 payments, pay in full all at once. You're in. You're the kind of person that you're in. You make that decision. It's $495. That's a crazy good deal. So I look forward to serving those of you who find value in that. I hope you found value in this. You will get the link for the recordings. You'll be able to listen to this over and over again. It has been my joy to be able to serve you in this way. And remember, wealth is your natural birthright. It is natural for you to be wealthy. It is natural for you to succeed. And it is natural for you to share your contribution in a way that truly makes a difference in our world. Imagine a world of people living a rich, abundant, fulfilling, contributing, wealthy life. That's the kingdom of heaven here on earth. The world needs people like you to be wealthy. All right, everybody. Good night. It's been my honor. I look forward to wrapping my arms around those of you who say yes to you and with this kind of support. And it has been my joy to serve all of you. My name is Felicia Searcy. It is my joy to be your partner in believing. Remember, your dream is my passion. God bless everyone.